Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the mock interview series with UiPath Aspirant. For the people who are looking this series for the first time, in this series I am taking mock interview for candidate based on their resume, their experience and their skill set. Please note that this is just a mock interview. It is not for any client, any customer or any of the job opportunities. The format of the mock interview is absolutely simple. The candidate send me the resume. I set up some time. I take the mock interview and all the confidential details such as the name, the company name, the project information, everything remains confidential with me. Even the name which you see in the mock interview is changed. So you do not have to worry about any of the details. Once I receive the interview, I hide the details, we take the interview. At the end, I guide the candidate that what are the topics he needs to improve upon, and I also provide the feedback on the interview so that they can perform well in their live interview. In terms of cost, the cost of the mock interview is absolutely free for you. You don't have to pay me anything. You just have to send me your resume and we can set up a common time and I conduct a mock interview for you. In case your experience match this mock interview, you can go ahead and watch. But in case you are coming from a different experience, you can go back to the playlist. There we have a couple of mock interviews which are already taken. You can watch them, get some insight, and hopefully that should be helpful in your next interview. If you want to appear for such a mock interview, all you have to do is just drop me an email on the email ID which is available in the description. Having said that, let's get started with today's mock interview. So Murtaja, today I am going to conduct a mock interview for you. The format would be simple. I am going to ask you the questions based on your resume and you have to answer me. At the end, I would be giving you the answer to the questions, whichever you have answered me incorrectly, and also a feedback that how you can improve for your actual interview. Okay,
Yeah, sure, sure.
cool. So can we get started by having a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, as you know, my name is Mohammed Murtaza. So, I'm having for about 5 years of total IT experience, and into automation, I have been working from last 3.5 years. Into 3.5 years, I have been part of automation anywhere for one small project where I was working on automation a 360 version. I
Mhm.
was working on creating some IQ boards for documents projects. Then I got a chance to work on UiPath development for 1 year, where I was responsible for development as well as requirement gathering and some involving in SPs also. And yeah, so recently from last 6 to 7 months, I had a part of production support also, where I was responsible for meeting business requirement and involving in team meetings, and I have also experience in creating project definition documents, solution definition documents, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my introduction.
Okay, great. So if I understand it correctly, majority of your experience is in UiPath and which includes some time in the UiPath support and some time as a developer, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And if I ask that how many projects have you done end to end in the development?
I have done 4 projects end to end
Four projects,
individually.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now out of these four projects, I want you to talk about any one of the project which you have done, okay, which you can explain me properly. Talk me through the problem statement, okay, and what was the automation doing, how it was developed, what was your role in it, right? Any one of the project.
Sure. I'll start with one of my projects, which I was using uh, one of the APIs. Like I was using the right website. Like let me start from the problem statement.
Okay.
We were, you know, we had a problem. Not a problem. We had a process, like manual process of a financial data, where the people were used to manually entering the details of the financial details of customers like customer ID, customer names, and payments. And for that, we had a plan to automate the process by using UiPath. So in this process, we have identified some issues like some issues with the automation. Like while creating project definition document, we understood what we have to do, automate and which process we cannot automate. The automation process was in a such a way we were firstly we were reading Excel files using read range activity.
Mhm.
Then the same data we were entering into Oracle website. Like we already have one of the internal APIs from client where we were change the data and we were just entering the data without manually. We just automating the process in a simple way. And after entering the data into Oracle website, we have to generate one report. Like it is automatically generating within our entering the data. We have to just download the file, output file, and we have to save it in one of the shared drive
Mhm.
or SharePoint. We can say any folder from client side. So that was the process. Like we were just taking data from Excel file, we were entering inputs into Oracle website, then we were downloading the files from one of the APIs website I can say,
Mm.
and then we were just storing that file into uh, one of the folder on SharePoint.
Okay, understood. Now, this process, right? Is it a daily, weekly? What kind of process is this?
It's a weekly process,
Okay.
and one transaction might take around 5 to 7 minutes. So
Hmm.
we have like volume of 100 to 120 for each run.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was a frequency, I would say.
So we can say when you say it's a transaction, that means it is built on REFramework, right? Robotics Enterprise Framework.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Can you tell me what is the transaction item here?
Transaction items will be the transactions like customer details, customer IDs, customer names, whatever the data we have in queue, like in Excel
Hmm.
sheet as an input,
Hmm.
it was your item.
Okay. Now, which activity are you using to add the data to these transactions?
Like we were using add queue item.
Okay. And there is one more activity, right? Which is bulk add queue item.
Yeah, so yeah, I do have knowledge about that. But the main difference we found that
Hmm.
we can just while using active activity, we can use references as a best practice. And
Mm-hmm.
as you know, our frequency is just about 100 to between 150 for transactions
Okay.
that we can modify and we can identify and we can have some uh, process very
Hmm.
smoothly. If in case we have a large number of new items like say 500 or 1000, we might choose add bulk items. It will add
Okay.
bulk items in
Okay.
one time.
And when you say that you are reading this Excel, right? Where is the robot getting this Excel from? How would the robot know that, yes, this is the Excel?
Yeah. So we were just into one local folder, like
Mm-hmm.
in shared drive. I would say not local folder. It was in VDI folder. Like yeah, in VDI folder we have some allocated file locations which we
Mm-hmm.
were defining or we can say accessing from one file path part
Okay,
of the
but
location of the folder.
who will place the input file in that who would place this Excel file in that shared location?
It was from business side only. Client will
Okay.
place the input file.
Okay,
Then we used to just automate.
great. So let's say I am your client, okay, and
Hmm.
I placed one file, but that file is completely blank. You do not have
Hmm.
any data.
Yeah.
What would happen to the process?
Uh, like if we don't have any Excel data into Excel file, like we don't have any queue items. So as we said, we have defined the references. Like if
Hmm.
the data exists, data only it will process. Otherwise, it will throw some business exceptions like data is not available or some kind of
Hmm.
that.
Can you tell me activity which you use to generate the business exception?
Uh, Business exceptions like uh, like you are asking for maybe expression or
No, no, activity. So let's say you are writing an automation, okay, and you have to raise a
yeah,
business exception, right? Which
yeah.
activity in UiPath we are using to raise a business exception?
Like we can use raise code.
Retry scope.
Uh,
Okay, so retry scope we will add to use the business exception. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Now, okay, fine. So I have a different question, right? So this dispatcher, right? Is it also built in
yes,
REFramework?
yes. Dispatcher and performer both are on REFramework.
Okay, what time your dispatcher is scheduled?
It is scheduled on like weekly from Monday it will run from
Mhm,
9 a.m. to like whatever the process is. Like it is average of 2.5 hour.
mhm. Okay, so I assume that the process dispatcher will run at 9 a.m. in the morning, and what time your performer will execute?
Like performer will exist whenever we have loading data. Like once we have loaded the data,
Hmm.
it will automatically trigger the performer based upon the
Okay,
input
and
files.
what kind of trigger you have? So how you have set up that mechanism where as soon as the item is added, it automatically get trigger, right? Where you have
Yeah,
done
yeah.
this setting? Is it in the code where you have done this setting?
It is in Orchestrator.
Hmm. Okay, Q trigger.
Yes, you trigger.
Okay,
Event-based trigger. We have one more like
okay.
time-based. We have not using time-based, but we
Hmm.
are using event-wise.
Okay, okay. So, so one question here. Now, let's say you have automation has added 100 items to the queue. Okay,
Yeah.
and your
Mm.
Oracle application is not working,
Mm.
right? The Oracle application where you have to insert the data is not working. Okay,
Not
what
responding.
happens
Yeah.
to those 100 items in the queue?
It will remain in same queue
Hmm.
and yeah. So we will have instead
What
of
would be
exceptions
the
like
what be the status of these items in the queue?
status will be uh, like it will in progress load. It will be like some error.
Error.
Or it
Okay,
is more than 24 hours, it will be like in abandoned state. If we told
okay,
for more than 24 hours, it will automatically go to abandoned.
okay. Fine. Okay, so Murtaja, I have next question on this same, right? So let's say as of now you have 100 items, right? Tomorrow the
Mm,
volume increases and now you have 1000 items, or let's say 10,000 items, right?
mm,
Now
mm,
one robot is not enough, right, to process 1000 items because it will take a lot of time.
yeah,
Now, my requirement is that I want to run this robot or this automation into five robots at the same time. So I have
mm,
1000 items. My idea would be simple that divide this 1000 items into uh,
5 robots.
200, 200, right? So that it
Yeah.
finishes immediately, right? How can I do that?
We can just use all different VDI machines like different robots.
Okay,
We
so
can assign them.
I went to the market, I bought five VDI machines. But how would
Mm.
those VDS machine know that I have to run this robot at 9 a.m., right? How would I set up that? So my question is simple, right? How do you set up multiple robot in UiPath Orchestrator?
We can assign some API keys or licenses based
Mm-hmm,
upon which it can identify the workflow, and we can identify like
mm-hmm.
we can add some details of applications which we are working on, and we
Okay.
can give some similar
Hmm.
settings or changes we have made to first memory.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Fine. So have you worked on RE framework?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so whenever we are creating a REFramework project, right? In the config,
Mm.
you have a setting which is called max retry, right? You have something which is called a retry number,
Yes, yes.
right?
Right,
What is
right.
that
Yeah.
retry number in the config?
Retry is kind of a error or exceptional handling
Hmm.
activity. You can say
Okay.
it is a number which we are retrying the activity. Suppose
Mm-hmm.
if we are working on any applications, we
Mm-hmm.
have any element exist scenario. So the element exist will, if we set up in such a way that
Hmm.
if we want to process after the, uh, element appears,
Okay, so
we
it
can
failed,
just,
right? It failed. So that's what you are trying
yeah,
to
it
retry,
will
right?
say,
Okay. So
yeah,
which kind of exception does it retry? All exceptions or only certain kind of exception?
it will mainly system exceptions.
Okay. It will retry only system exception, right?
Yeah,
Now, when you are creating a queue in the orchestrator, right?
yeah,
That time also you
yes,
have a setting which is called retry count.
yeah,
So now I have created an automation. In the queue,
mm,
I have made the retry count to 3, and in the
mm,
config, I have made it to 5.
mm.
How many times the items would be retried?
Based upon the config file, it will retry like 5 times, as far as my knowledge is concerned.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Now, okay. Okay, so that was about your queue and that was about your process. Okay, now, uh, in the end of your process, you say that you are saving the files, right? Where are you saving these files?
We are saving into one of the shared drive like folder into
Hmm.
the.
Okay, so I am your customer and I say that, hey, Murtaja, I want to change the shared location to somewhere else. Okay,
Mhm.
I want to save it in, let's say, a different location, right?
Yeah.
Do you need to do a code change?
No, we have to define in config file itself the
Mm-hmm.
all locations or path will be defined in config file, so we can
But
just
but
easily
your config file is inside the data folder of UiPath,
data
right?
folder. Yeah, yeah,
So that means that you need to redeploy the code.
yeah. We might be. So if
So
we are processing only one time means we can just hardware the location in code, but
mm-hmm,
it is kind of an enhancement or any
mm-hmm,
fixing any kind of a bug. So
uh-huh.
we have to do
You
changes
have to,
in
but
config only.
this is not a bug, right? This is not a bug. This is just a, I would say
Yes,
I want to change it to different location, right? Now it can be anything,
yes,
right?
yes,
So let's
yeah.
say Excel name has changed anything, right? So okay.
Mm,
Okay, so one more question here, right? So regarding your process only, right? So you have processed 100 items. Okay.
yeah.
After 100 items, I have a requirement that I want to get the report of all the 100 items. Okay, so
Mm,
you have added 100 items to the queue. I want to simply know that, okay, out of the 100, 30 were successful, 30 got application exception, 30 has got this
mm,
selector exception, and 30 got business exception, right? A kind of a report.
yes.
How can I
Mm.
get it?
We can get it from simply from Orchestrator. We can get it in form of CS or Excel file, like in
But I
Excel
am the
file.
business, right? So I am a business guy,
Uh,
right? So I do not have access to your orchestrator, right?
okay. So from this,
You
I
understood the
think,
question?
yeah, yeah, I understood. But as a developer, I can know what kind of
Hmm.
exceptions we had. But as
Okay,
a
let's say
business
you
side,
have not coded in this, right? And now I want, this is a change request for you, right? So I tell you that, hey, you have to send me this report, right? What code you will write and where?
yeah,
So
like
I
I
cannot tell
need to send
Murtaja
it to.
always to go to orchestrator, download and send it to me, right?
Mm,
Because that would be a manual process.
yeah, that's the manual process.
Yeah,
Uh, like, I'm not aware of it.
that's fine. Okay. And now I can see your resume that you have done some project on invoice processing,
Yeah,
right? Now,
yes,
let's say I have an uh, PDF, okay, which is an
yes.
invoice, right? So let's say we are just talking about invoices. So that's an invoice which is a scanned PDF. Okay. I
Mm,
want to
mm.
read the data from and extract the information from that scanned PDF, right? Which activity, what approach you have used in this?
So we can use OCR for that document understanding in a way.
Okay,
Like we
so
can use
okay. So before we proceed, right? What exactly is an OCR?
OCR is
What does it do?
optical
Hmm,
character recognition. It
recognition,
will
right?
just
Yeah.
yeah,
It will extract the data and I can get the information, right?
yes, yes.
Why do I require document understanding then?
It's kind of an helping
Mhm.
process where we can specifically work on documents, not only scanned documents, digital and not digital document also.
Scanned is non-digital, right?
Yeah, yeah, scanned this one. That's what I mean.
So what is the difference then, right? So if I give you an task, okay, you have two options.
Mm,
You can do with OCR, you can do with document understanding.
mm.
Which one you prefer and why?
I will see how many number of documents we have to process.
Hmm.
Uh, if we are having one or two, we can use it OCR only. But if we have a large number of PDF or documents, we will go with document understanding
Okay.
for better approach.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So there is one project in your resume which talk about MySQL Server, right? Have you got hands-on experience on SQL Server?
Yeah, I got some basic,
Yeah,
like I know some basic queries writing queries like select
I can see you have
and
mentioned three projects where you have worked on MySQL Server, right? So one is that support
yes,
in
yes,
the invoice processing also. Okay. So
yes.
uh, I have a table, okay, in SQL. Okay.
Hmm,
In that table, I have employee name and then I have the salaries. Okay, I
hmm,
have the employee name and I have the
yeah,
salary. So let's say employee name is Mukesh and the salary is 10,000. Employee name is Ramesh, the salary is 5,000. Employee name is Suresh and the salary is 4,000, right? I just want to get who is having the highest salary and who is having the lowest salary from this table, right? What can I use in
hmm.
SQL? Understood the question?
Like, yeah, yeah. So we
Hmm.
have to just uh, arrange in a such a way that ascending
Yeah.
or descending order from last to low.
Yeah, but ascending, descending, we don't have to. So we just require two records, right? Where it says that the maximum salary is for Mukesh, which is 10,000, and minimum salary is for Suresh, which is 5,000. That's it, right? The table might have 1,000, two
Yeah.
thousand, any number of records.
So we can just write the query in such a way that select maximum of
Mm-hmm,
employee salary
mm-hmm,
dot name of the employee
mm-hmm.
and from table name.
Okay.
Or for minimum also we have to write same like select minimum of employee salary
Hmm.
like employee name from employee table.
Okay, got it. And if I have to
Hmm.
get this max and min result in UiPath, okay, so I
Hmm.
have to write an automation where I want to get this max number and min number in UiPath, right? Which activity I'm going to use?
Like in UiPath, I have been not using SQL.
Hmm.
Like separately, I was working on SQL. In
Uh-huh.
automation,
Okay.
I have not used. But
Okay.
I think we have some options like query and non-query options in UiPath.
Hmm. Okay, fine. And last question, right? Which version of UiPath are you using?
It was 2022.7.
2022.7.
Yeah,
Are you sure we have such version?
yeah, I'm not.
Okay. Okay, so 2022.7, right? So can you tell me any two features which are new in this version, 2022.7?
Uh, yeah, so one will be like recorders. We have some new options
Mm-hmm.
for recorders,
Okay.
and one more I can say that uh, something is that I'm not able to rectify.
Okay.
Remember.
Can you tell me which is the latest version of UiPath Studio now, which is
It
available?
is yeah 23.8.
Okay, 23.8. Okay, fine. Uh, okay, so that's it. I am done with my set of questions. Okay, let's directly come to your feedback. But before that, I wanted to ask you, what do you think? How was your interview?
Uh, it was like I would say 50% of
Hmm.
uh,
Okay, do you think that you
answers.
have answered me the answers correctly? Because you are giving the interview, right? You know.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think
Hmm,
yeah, I have answered a few questions correctly, and a few questions were like partially right. I think,
right.
and
Okay, so that's true,
obviously
right?
there
So
were some
because you have not
missing
answered
questions.
me uh,
Yeah.
main questions correctly, right? Now,
Hmm.
if this was a real-time interview, right, what do you think? Would you be selected or would you not be selected?
Yeah, I think I will not be.
Okay. So if this was a real-time interview, right? So let me just come to your feedback now, right? So first thing is your project explanation needs to be improved. Okay. You have done a very good project, but you're not able to explain it. The second feedback for you is whenever you are explaining anything, right, you are directly jumping to the code. So I ask you about
Hmm.
your project and you are directly going to Excel application scope, reading this, reading the data table and all, right? It's only about explaining the project, right? So the same thing happened into one other question where you are just directly telling me the code, how do you do it? That might not be required, right? So project explanation
Like,
is something which you need to work upon. Okay.
mhm.
As I always tell, start with the problem statement, right? What was the project? What exactly is the problem it is trying to solve? How this is built? What are the benefits? What was your role in it? And a kind of a complete summary of the project, right? So please work on the project explanation. Okay. Business exception handling, very important topic in UiPath. And to raise
Yeah,
the business exception, you told me that you are using a retry scope, which is absolutely wrong. Okay.
yeah.
In UiPath, we have an activity which is called throw.
Throw and rethrow. Yeah,
Yeah. So inside the throw, I write throw new business rule exception and then I generate. Right. And when you
yeah.
say
I think
that
we have
yeah,
four
yes.
exceptions, right?
Yeah.
I
So
read
no,
somewhere, but
exception types
while
are huge,
answering,
right? So there are more than I would say 100 plus exception type, if
yeah,
I remember it correctly, right? But to
yeah.
generate business exception, I am using the throw keyword. And when you say that you have done so you have a close to 4.5 years of experience and you do not know that how do you generate business exception, that does not make sense, right? So basics, this was a very basic question, right? How do you
Yes,
generate
yes,
business
yes.
exception? So you can go back to my playlist of exception handling. I have explained exception handling in a step by step manner, so please watch that. That will clear your doubts. Okay. The second
Sure.
thing is your knowledge on queue is very limited. Though you say that you
Mm.
have built it in REFramework, I don't trust that. uh, you do not have knowledge on queue items, right? Because I ask you a simple question, right? If the application fails, what happens to the queue? And your answer was all of them goes to an error, right? There is no status such as error. Okay. The
Yes, yes.
items are marked to failed. Okay. With system
Mm.
exception. And then you also told me something about abandoned,
Mm.
right? So only the items which are in progress are marked to abandoned, right? So my question was that SAP has failed, right? So if SAP has failed,
it is a system exception, and the process and the
It failed.
transaction is marked to failed, right? It is no longer in progress. So there is no point of getting it absconded, right? So sorry, not
Mm.
absconded, abandoned, right? So abandoned, only the items which are in progress are marked. So that means that I started a transaction and something happened and the robot was not able to either go to successful or either go to failure, right? So that item would be marked as abandoned, right? So this item was absolutely incorrect. Okay. Now,
Yes.
there is a question, right, which I has asked you that you have to retry. So if you are giving the number in the queue and in the config, the priority would be always given to the queue.
Okay.
Okay. You can go back, create an automation and try it yourself, right? The other
Yes.
question which you have answered me incorrectly is about the hard coding of that
No, yes, sir.
location, right? No hard coding, right? Answer to that question is you can use assets, or simply you can keep the config file outside the project, right?
Mm.
Now, if I
Yeah.
keep outside the project, I need to do some changes in the RE framework, right? So I will, there is a video on my channel which talks about how do you put config outside the RE framework and what changes you have to do, right? Because if you say that, hey, I can keep the config outside, the next question would be how, right? So you
How?
need to be
Yes.
aware of this, right? So that was also wrong. Reporting is a very important concept where you talk about how do you send the reports, right? So whenever we are doing a real-time automation, we have dispatcher, performer, and usually the developer create a new process which is called reporter, whose job is just to get the items from the queue and send it as a report. As simple as that, right? And you're not able to answer me this, right? Your CV says
Yeah,
that
I
you
was.
have, yeah, you have created that?
Uh, yeah, don't worry. I have not worked on reporter, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yes.
I
Okay.
just know
Hmm.
dispatch and overall.
Okay, that's fine. Your CV says that you have OCR, good understanding of intelligent document processing, but the answer you gave
Mm.
me for the DU versus OCR is incorrect. Okay. So OCR is optical character recognition and DU is an advanced technology which uses artificial intelligence. So whenever you have, uh, it's not on the number of invoices, right? It's on the format of the invoices. If the format of the invoices change, then OCR fails sometimes. OCR has its own limitation. That's why we use document understanding, right? It has a separate license. So when you say that you have worked on intelligent document processing, you should be at least know the basics, right? This max and min, you have answered me correctly for the SQL question which I have asked. This version question, right? 23.8 is the latest version. That's true, right? 22.7, some features you should know, such as data manager recorder, right? That was just to know, let check your knowledge on the UiPath product, right? So you should be always updated with what's happening in the project, right? So overall, I can say that if I have to judge you on the interview skill, right, this interview is not up to the mark. Okay. uh, you need to practice more, right? So I would be very frank to you, right? Not giving any sugar coated answer, right? So you need to work on your basics, right?
Yeah.
Project, all these questions are very basics, right? So that was my
Yes.
feedback and the questions to your incorrect answers. Okay. Now over to
Mm.
you. How was your feedback? How do you like it? Do you like it or do you not? You didn't like it?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I just want to thank for you for you know uh, for your time and your efforts. I really appreciate your efforts and
Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.